rapidly. The first session was, can a scientist believe in God? So why, I don't know whether you discussed this point. Why scientist? Was it discussed? Can a poet believe in God? Can a manager believe in God? Can an engineer believe in God? Can a teacher believe in God? Why is it titled, Can a Scientist Believe in God?
Because they believe on profession.
Okay.
Scientists is well model.
Okay.
Currently, modern science is sort of scientists believe that.
Beautiful. Great. Good. Very good point. Because until and unless one, nowadays this kind of um, perception is there in society that scientific people cannot be theistic. They, science means objectively seeing and believing. So it's being imposed in modern society, especially in India. भारत में ही ज्यादा है, बाहर नहीं है इतना. भारत में ही ज्यादा है कि you go to temple, are you mad? Are you have you left your secular way of living? Are you fanatic? Are you sentimental? Why do you believe in God? It's unscientific where we are going and where you are going. People tend to tell like that. If someone's son is going to beer bar, the father would be more happy as compared to he going to temple. He would feel that he is probably in some stress, and he would suggest him, instead of removing your stress by going to God, you go to beer bar, you dance with girls, all your stress will go away. This is the status of our society today, in the name of science. So, therefore, the title, as aptly could be put as possible, was put by His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu. He is the author of Discover Yourself. He is IIT graduate, and he is a great asset for whole India. He has established youth preaching, especially, and whatever our Guru Shishya Parampara has given uh, in various places, in various ways, he has put it up in a very systematic step-by-step method, seeing the psychology of today's modern youth. So therefore, he titled it very intelligently, Can a Scientist Believe in God? Because scientists are supposed to be authorized people of the society who can represent the knowledge in its purest form. That is our faith. Whether blind faith or true faith, that we discovered in Discover Yourself. But that is precisely the reason, can a scientist believe in God? There we saw, does God really exist? We saw Nobel laureates, some of the scientists, what they feel, what Sir Isaac Newton, who is supposed to be father of modern physics, what is his view about God? You must have been told that story of a wooden model of the universe, and how he uh, ridiculed, or how he shows the fault of modern so-called scientists, proud scientists, whose name we don't know today, whom Sir Isaac Newton defeated. We don't know, but we know Sir Isaac Newton because he was indeed the scientist. Therefore, his version of calculation of reality is being used today also, is more authentic. His views were theistic. He proved that with his wooden model. If this model, you want to know who has created it, who has designed it, and you are not ready to believe that this poor mimicry of whole universe, it must be made by designed by somebody intelligent. Why don't you accept that there must be a designer? So basically, seeing the unseen. Um, Yes, this universe, how it is, who created, what is the purpose, wonderful creations, and these beautiful creations, their complexity. We always want to know who is the designer, isn't it? Who is the artist? Space, satellite, control room, satellite monitoring. All of you are quite professional. You are working professionals, most of you, and highly educated. You can see that all of this requires so much of science. What about this? Such a mass Earth, and it is at such a high speed, and we don't even feel like we are traveling. If you travel a whole night in a bus, you are tired, but in fact, we are enjoying our lives in this moving platform. So, how this wonderful creation could be possible without a designer? And there is a control, traffic signal. That example was given. Traffic signal cannot. If traffic signals are not working, there are chaos, mess, and if there is no police there, RTO, and then people don't even bother whether it is red signal or something. They just sneak if it is possible. So एक पांडु रहेगा वहां पे तो फर्क पड़ता है. तो ये सिग्नल की बात है तो यहाँ पे तो जिंदगी और मौत का सवाल है जहां पर ना. तो God must be there. Somebody must be controlling. And there were superb examples like there is human brain, the most sophisticated computer in the universe. Artificial intelligence is mimicry of human intelligence, and that artificial intelligence is possible today because of human intelligence, and there is no designer of the intelligence of human being. How ridiculous this is. So with a little bit of analysis, we can understand that this is not possible without a designer, creator. Uh, Creation implies creator. And best of the scientists like Albert Einstein and Lord Kelvin, all of them, Newton, they have been of theistic disposition. They believed in God. So, uh, like there is a kind of uh, difference in births, and here they are showing somebody beautiful, somebody ugly. Some of one batch I know. One of the candidates said, "Why are you saying that these are ugly women?" I said, "No, I didn't create actually these PPTs. Uh, they may be beautiful for somebody. For someone, that girl which was shown may not be beautiful." So the point is, there is a difference between uh, the awards which are available to a human being in terms of beauty, in terms of intellect, in terms of capabilities, skills, in terms of overall personality, in terms of riches. There is, if there is nobody in control and there is no law, why there would be any beautiful, ugly, rich, handsome, not so handsome, and all this? Why these dualities will come into picture? There must be somebody who is deciding based on some criteria. We choose job, wife, husband. We don't choose our parents, our birth, and all. So many things we can't choose. So who chooses and on what basis? Is it by chance? Do we see? Actually, the dictionary, Oxford Dictionary itself says that the cosmos means an orderly, harmonious, systematic universe. So if it is orderly, somebody must have given order to it. If it is harmonious, you have seen that harmony, a music director creates a harmony. He, synchronizes all the instruments. All the instrument players have a protocol, and then they make a good harmony out of it. So if the world is harmonious, defined to be harmonious, there must be some music director behind it. Laws means a lawmaker. That also we saw. There are so many laws, and laws imply a lawmaker. So therefore, what is the origin of the universe? What is the purpose of this complicated universe? Although this example was given probably. Sutre Manigana Iva. Sutre means whatever sutra, like I have a kanthi. So these Maniganaha means these beads are, are together because there is a thread. Although thread may not be seen. Now this is quite old, so you may be able to see some part of thread. But but we are not able to see God because God is so sukshma, subtle. Like thread is not directly visible, but you see a beautiful necklace out of pearl. So, Janmadhyasya God is the original source and cause of everything. Brahma Samhita says, Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. Just like engine is driving all the bogies. And there are some things which we cannot see, but we believe. So there are some examples like that. And that is where we came to the point of government of a country and government of God, universal government. So this you have seen. I need not cover it again. So you have parallels, and therefore we say that there is a government of God existing. Then, yes, Albert Einstein finally says what is the real prime duty of a scientist. So design implied designer, creation implies creator, organization implies organizer, artistry implies artist, laws imply lawmaker, energy implies energetic. So this is all implied, 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 and the Big Bang theory appears to be so ridiculous. Something like you find a watch. Uh, that same example was given. Watch near a seashore. If you find a watch is there, would you say that this has appeared from nowhere? Watch, simple watch. Or if some bomb blast happens, there is disarray or there is organization. There is destruction after bomb blast. There is no organization possible. What was organized would go into a disarray, disharmony. So how could a big bang make a universe possible? Not possible. So maybe, but who did the Big Bang? If everything came from Big Bang, before that somebody, कोई तो ये चाहिए ना बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट करने के लिए, बॉम्ब बनाने के लिए भी कोई तो चाहिए. बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट हो रहा है और if everything is created, then it should be somebody should be behind. So no God, no peace. No God, no peace. That was the conclusion. So, there is any question on this? I don't think all of you are, well versed in this. The second was getting the eyes to see God. Now you have all it implies, but it's not still convincing that there is God, isn't it? So, if anything is to be scientific, there has to be a process, scientific process. So, how do you perceive or know God? Is there any perception possible? This is all indirect way of knowing God. Yes, because it is there, but still, to the heart, it's not as convincing as meeting somebody face to face. So, therefore, we went into very fundamentals of how do we get knowledge in this world. So there we saw getting the eyes to see God. I don't think this slide was shown to you. If you are told, sit silently in a meditative, bent of or meditative consciousness and list down why do you believe that actually God exists. Make a list. So I made my list. Intelligent design, as we studied, constructive creation or creativity, harmonious universal nature, universal laws, complexity of creation, great thinkers, philosophers, scientists, intelligent beings accept existence of God, miraculous effects of prayers, reciprocations by some divine beings, authoritative nature of vast knowledge given in the scriptures, which is believed to be the words of God Himself. Verifiability of the endless knowledge in the scriptures. Can you give example? Let us take one thing. Verifiability of the endless knowledge in the scriptures. Can you verify that whatever was said in a particular scripture, this was said and this is the proof?
There is some verified. Like
you must have discussed that in this session.
No, I mean I was going through the Upanishad and I found something they were talking about the especially for the how the baby grows in the mother's womb, and that has been already decoded very long. They were talking about the first 3 months when the brain develop and when the other organs grow.
Correct.
So as per I think 1932, as a scientifically we discovered that the baby mind creates somewhere around third month of the whole beginning, and it is already mentioned in the eighth day that somewhere around 2 and 2.5 months we get our brain, and before that I think in the Srimad Bhagavatam they have like, it means like dono bhi it is absolutely correct. So
Right.
there is a various examples that we can.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Very good example. Thank you. Gray's anatomy is modern science theory of how the baby grows in the womb of a mother. And that same thing is there in Garbhopanishad already, thousands and thousands years back. And that same thing is in Srimad Bhagavatam. That is also there in Chaitanya Bhagavat, a book written 500 years back. So all these are verifiable things. Annat bhavanti bhutani parjanyat anna sambhavaha yajnat bhavati parjanyo yajnah karma samudbhavam. Bhagavad-gita says. Annat bhavanti bhutani means living beings subsist on food grains. We eat and we live. If there is nothing to eat, we can't survive. So is it not verifiable? It's verifiable. Parjanyat anna sambhava. Because rains come, that's why food comes. Food grows. Is it not verifiable? Go to desert and see whether there is food. There is no water, there is no food. So perfect verifiability is there. Desires and provisions of fulfillment. You have thirst and you have water to quench thirst. It's a basic thing. Just imagine if it is random and there is no sense behind creation. Why should be there a sense of thirst and why should be there water which can perfectly quench your thirst? Milk cannot quench your thirst. Why? There is something, some sense. When one goes deeper into whys and researches them in scriptures, you get comprehensive answers for it. And they are deeply satisfying to us. Dependence on higher power for abilities, as if they are awarded by someone. Sometimes we want to remember, but we can't. Sometimes we want to forget, but we can't. Matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha, Krishna says. From me comes remembrance, forgetfulness, and knowledge. In the same classroom, why everyone doesn't get same marks, same teachers, same books, same syllabus? Matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha. Somebody is controlling it, somebody is awarding it. Somebody is so scholarly, but he suffers in job like anything because of his attitude. Or he doesn't have any problem in him, but still he is unlucky like anything. Why? These reasonings are required for our souls to be calm and peaceful. So therefore there is dependence on higher power for abilities. Divine, flawless, powerful, saintly people with immaculate character, experiencing same form and nature of God and exhibiting tremendous powers. We see such people. And why the hell 5,000 years back somebody wrote that this is what is my realization of this personality called as Lord Krishna. And today some saint also sees same personality in his realizations. And it's not, the language is not same, the region is not same. Why there is a deity of Lord Krishna found in some remote location of earth underground, and it is the same as it is described in a scripture 5,000 years back. And why Ramayana is same throughout India in every town and village. If I create a story out of my own speculation mind, nice story, will it go on for thousands of years like this? And all illiterate people in every village and town, will they know this story? At least now WhatsApp and Facebook, everything is there. Can you make a drama which would be played by whole India? No. These are some very significant observations. Justice and punishment for good and bad. This principle of supervision by higher power and allowance. There are diseases if there are, if you cross the limit of certain things. Eating, if you overeat, you are going to get disease. There are laws, and the punishments of good or bad are coming. So, generally, theistic people exhibit divine qualities useful to the overall happiness of the society, whereas atheistic people exhibit demoniac qualities contributing to the distressful society. You can see this for yourself. And you increase the level of atheism in the society, you would find it is becoming difficult day by day to face those people. There is no reason why they should behave in a certain good way. You give me the reason. Why should people behave in a certain way? Just because there is a constitution of the nation? No, there would be some judges who are corrupt. There would be some police who are corrupt. You don't have any self accountability because there is no conception of controller and punishments and good and evil, divine and demoniac. There is no control. It's a need. If it is not a belief, it's a need. You see, perfect gentleman who is free from greed, lust, anger. Do you see such a man without a reason? You would find the reason in his belief system, and it is primarily based on somebody's control. He believes that there is control, there is punishment for bad, exploitation, selfishness, theft. There is a belief, even if I steal somebody's property, I am not caught by police, still I am accountable because there is some higher power. He has that implicit faith. So it's not only a question of belief or science or not science. It's a question of need also. We need, all of us need. I hope you are getting. Usually, people following instructions given by God through scriptures enjoy a very peaceful, contented, and happy life, even under testing circumstances, whereas atheistic people suffer endless anxieties, stress, and depression. You can see it for yourself. In other cultures or other countries, there is so much of scientific, so-called scientific propaganda. They have psychiatrists, each of them, and the psychiatrists themselves have psychiatrists, and there are super psychiatrists who are helping those, second level psychiatrists. But it doesn't end. There are examples of great achievers ending their lives out of frustration. Whatever a common man wants in his life, they have everything at their disposition, but still they are suffering. And you will see that there is no faith or belief of future. Science of soul at least gives us an optimistic vision of eternity of our existence. That itself is a big relief, isn't it? If you feel this life is all in all and there is nothing after this, is it not a very pessimistic idea? Just it's such a negative expression. There is nothing after this life. Such a negative expression. But God-centered societies, they have, better, as we said, they can better handle problems in life. It was surveyed sometimes back that if in an advanced Western country some natural disaster happens, then people would steal, people would plunder, people would misbehave, people will act very selfishly, they will kill each other. But in India, that is very unlikely to happen. It was properly surveyed. I don't know whether you know it because HR maybe these things maybe might doing some, So this is just a some 10-12 points which came to my mind. I just wrote them down. All of you have your own reasons to believe in God. So I hope you have come to the conclusion that God is a scientific reality. If you don't have that faith, then further journey is difficult. So once we are, convinced that God is a scientific reality, we can take next step. Next step. Next step is I want to see God. How does He look? How can I know Him perfectly? Because He's the creator, designer. He knows everything. So if I have questions, He must have perfect answers. So I want Him. I want knowledge from Him. I want to ask Him, why am I suffering? It's a natural this thing. Oh God, give me my daily bread. That is Christian prayer. So it's a natural expression of any human to surrender to some higher authority, and who could be higher authority better than God Himself? So rather than surrendering to the corrupt people who are, whose conscience is not, trustworthy, probably, I would better go and surrender to God if I have access to Him. So how do I know God? That is getting the eyes to see God. Six blind men. Everybody speculates. So there are three ways of gaining knowledge: pratyaksha, anuman, shabda. Hmm? You have gone through this. It's very interesting. Is seeing believing. Concave and convex mirrors. You see yourself very funny in some mirror. You have seen such mirrors. You seem to be taller than your actual height. You seem to be fat. You seem to be smart, slim. You seem to be a very comic character. So seeing is not believing. This example was given. It's a scientific, simple, straightforward process. So, direct sense perception, you can see that it doesn't work always. It works like if there is smoke around there, heavy black smoke, you can conclude that by seeing, I can conclude there is a fire there. It's okay. Fire is there. To some extent, you can get knowledge, but you can't conclude about subtle reasoning like this one. There is required to be a scientific observation across the medium of light. Your refractive index of eyes in water and in air, ether. So there is that formula of refractive index by which you can see that bent, seemingly bent stick is not bent. If I ask you a question, is this a bent stick? Are you sure that you can say it is not? Is it a straight stick or a bent stick? How can you say straight? To some degree, it may be straight. not as straight as it should be. We can't conclude. It may be, now this is a Vishal cone, bigger this thing. It may be less bent, or it may be straight. You don't know. You have to make two separate observations. Right? So everything is not possible to be proven by just seeing. Then I don't know whether this was shown to you. These were the slides or some different slides? Different. Huh? So basics, very important thing. The knower is all of us, knowledge gaining senses. We have 5 knowledge gaining senses: eye, nose, sense of touch, sense of smell, sense of hearing. And there is an object of knowledge. We want to know about that object. How do we do? Either we have a perception, direct perception of object of knowledge by using our senses. By directly using senses, we can, like eyes, we can try to see what is the actual object of knowledge. We hear about the object of knowledge. We smell object of knowledge, depending upon what kind of perception we want about the object. Getting? But sometimes we don't have the capability. Our senses are not sufficiently capable to grasp an object. It may be far away, it may be too far close. So we need instruments, and we use scientific instruments. Like if my child asks me, my son asks me, I'm feeling feverish. Do I have temperature? Then I touch and say, oh, yes, you have a little temperature. But then mother comes, she touches, she says, hey, kuch nahi, ja school. Kuch temperature वगैरह कुछ नहीं है, नाटक नहीं चलेगा. So then he argues, nahi, father is correct, mother is not correct. So how do you now fix the issue, whether he has fever or not? So we use instruments, isn't it? To get a little more idea, the quantitative measure, how much temperature. So we use these instruments, and then there is a process to handle those instruments and acquire knowledge. So there is a way to read the thermometer. So like that we have that scientific process. Is it not? Is science anything, modern science, anything different than this? Captured, I could capture it in an object diagram. Is modern science anything different than this? Now, if something is beyond our instruments and beyond senses, do we say that it is unscientific to believe in it? If we don't have senses to perceive certain thing, and if we don't have an instrument to perceive it, can we deny the existence of that object, saying it is unscientific? No. So why do the scientists deny the existence of God? Example, mind, our own mind. Do you have any sense? 5 senses. Can you see mind with eyes? Can you smell mind? No. Can you have some scientific instrument to see mind? No. Do you have mind? So there is some sense called a subtle sense by which we can know the mind. If you know what is meant by mind, you have capability in your consciousness to scientifically establish certain realities of life as science. Mind is scientific reality or not? It's a scientific reality. Do you need test tubes and some chemicals to prove that mind exists? It's a self-sufficient truth. And are we missing so many self-sufficient truths in the name of belief in modern science? That's the question. So that is where getting the eyes to see God, this topic makes us understand science in a subtler way, in a very beautiful way. And Vedas and our, Upanishads, everything, they give us methodology which is beyond this superficial gross way of scientific exploration. So there we now question because so-called modern scientists who are very puffed up, they want to question our faiths. They reject psychology as a non-scientific thing. Do you study it as a scientific subject, physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics? No. Psychology is studied by whom? Mostly non-science students. Because they don't consider that psychology is a science. So we want to question them. Why is it not a science? Because it's a mental, state of our consciousness. Psychology means mind is there, psychology of the mind is there. I am happy today. It's a scientific reality. I don't need your test tube experimentation to say whether I am happy or unhappy. I know it. I have sufficiently scientific realization of the fact that I have a happiness in my heart. So we question, and then the Vedic science gives us these four defects: imperfect senses, tendency to be illusioned, tendency to commit mistakes, tendency to cheat others. And there are so many examples. Radio waves, can you see? Do they exist? Yes. X-rays, they exist. Eyes are blind, ears are deaf, around these, outside these range. Then instruments also are handled by imperfect senses. Therefore, this Nobel Prize winner, physicist Eigenweiner, points out that we have to handle the instruments ultimately by using our senses. Whatever the instrument is showing actually falls again in our senses. For example, WhatsApp now has this HD mode for sending images. Earlier it didn't have. So, does it send an image, higher resolution image? But there, all the details of the image are not available on the other side. Because WhatsApp filters it out. Because it has to manage its storage, cloud storage. It can't afford such a huge storage. As it is evolving, now it is able to give us. But still, it is going to filter a very high definition, content, image or video. So, somebody prints a big, huge poster of his image, and then somebody comes, oh, nice, please send me this. I also want to put it in my home. And then he goes back, takes a print, and it is horrible. That exactly is, he says, this is not what I gave you to print. Similarly, this is not what is reality, because it is getting filtered through our senses again. So it is going to be a problem. That is what he pointed out to Nobel laureate. Tendency to be illusioned. Ears cannot distinguish sometimes. Sometimes conch shell is blown, and sometimes a train passes whistling. Sometimes I can't distinguish whether it was a conch shell. I conclude because 7:15 is Darshan Arti, therefore it must be conch shell. Really, that is what our senses give us. A tongue, orange after sugar is sour, orange after lemon is sweet. So it's relative perception. So whether orange is sweet or sour depends on the state of tongue. So there is this tendency to get into illusions. Skin, same water in cold days, same water in hot days is different perception. ज्ञानेन तु तदज्ञानं येषां नाशितम् आत्मनः तेषाम् आदित्यवत् ज्ञानं प्रकाशयति तत्त्वम्. This is a story. I won't tell this. We don't have time. Then this is, you saw them. So the conclusion is all right. What is the conclusion? Our eyes or our senses are imperfect. They can get into illusion. They can cheat others. There are there is a history of cheating in our whole scientific community. Brain was thought of as an organ to cool the blood. Is it so? No. So, in the course of time, the so-called scientific theories are put down by new theories. You know about WHO, the credibility of WHO today and before COVID. After COVID, nobody is believing in WHO. Now people are, I am in defense. We know there is something called as biological warfare. Biological warfare means you poison people by using some injections, or you pollute water in such a way that they will get all cancer. Something like that. You push all plastic from your country to this country by making it in some shape so that it is useful. So like that, all these cheating things are happening in science. One of my friends who was in working in one of the companies which I would not name, but that company was making heart drugs, heart related drugs, heart problems solve करने के लिए drugs बनाती थी company. So they knew that the groundwater is within the certain number of kilometers radius and to certain depth below ground, that water has become so contaminated because of the side products and all those harmful chemicals which are coming out of that company. I asked whether there is no government authority to stop this. He said we manage all of that. There are certain drugs which cannot be manufactured in other countries because there are strict norms. They are manufactured in India or in some poor country. I remember when I was going to Konkan, somebody is from Konkan, and I was going to Lonere, Mahad. So there was a river, there is a river. Now I should say there was a river. It was full clean blue water in the year 1997. And when I passed out and went back again, it was a gutter. Mahad is full industrial area. So like that, can we believe these people? We are becoming miserable day by day using the so-called modern science. Our health is gone. Our lifestyle has become disastrous. We have to work too much hard. Earlier, people used to work for 4 or 5 months and enjoy for 6 7 months. Now we are working day and night. And modern medicine system, we are not sure what would happen. Now they injected some, something in people in general in COVID and all. People are saying that abruptly some heart attacks are happening. Young people are also dying. So we are not sure whether cheating is there or whether it is correct or not. Modern science. So Darwin's theory also, he said, I am speculating, and he said that this kind of animal turns into that kind of animal just by evolution, and swimming, the boar becomes a big fish. So if somebody puts that same scientist who argues this into Pacific Ocean, and he says you swim and become a fish, this is ridiculous. This is not science. And the original person who proposed it, he himself is accepting that I just speculated. And then if you go into the record of the rocks, you can easily find that the modern human kind of species were always present. And the animals which we see today were also in same forms in previous ages. And there is no missing link. Like if there is a camel or a giraffe and there is a cow or a donkey, why there is no in between species with different lengths of their necks if they are evolved? So like that, there are so many questions. So this way we don't believe in pratyaksha praman too much. व्यवहार में जितना लगता है उतना ठीक है, बट सबके लिए मॉडर्न साइंस ही अथॉरिटी बन गया ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. सो दिस इज वन ऑफ द, व्हाट इज द टाइम? Okay, okay. We'll take a break at around 12:50. So this is doubtful credibility. This is Dr. Richard Horton, the current editor-in-chief of the Lancet. Lancet journal, you know? Is it becoming too scientific? Huh? If we have faith that modern science has failed to give us answers of all questions of life, we need not go into these details. There are a lot of scientific people who have said something like this. Dr. Marcia Angel, this is little, I would just read it. It is simply no longer possible to believe much of the clinical research that is published or to rely on the judgment of trusted physicians or authoritative medical guidelines. I take no pleasure in this conclusion, which I reached slowly and reluctantly over my 2 decades as an editor of the New England Journal of Medicine. Who is saying? So why are we stressing so much on modern science for esoteric truths like God and our own existence and miseries of life and overcoming birth, old age, disease, death? We should not give much importance to these things. I am not saying we should not give any importance to these things. They are used where they are aptly available as okay for betterment of life. I am not saying there are no planes flying and there is no railway engine. All of that is there, but it doesn't mean that they know everything. Shabda Praman is hearing from bona fide authority. So it's Shabda Praman is coming from God, and it is presented as it is in a chain of disciplic succession without changing anything. Then it becomes word of God. So if we have number one, the Shabda Praman, the word of God is Bhagavad Gita, for example, is word of God, and the Bhagavad Gita which is told here in this particular by this particular man is as it is as it was told. If you have these two assurances, then Shabda Praman is the most authentic way of getting knowledge about God or about life or about ourselves. So to know God, we have to take help of something called as Vedic science or Vedas. It's a huge body of knowledge, and there are some quotes. Oh, when did this happen? Okay, so there are some quotes about Hinduism or the knowledge, how it is. They are wondering, some of the philosophers and scientists from outside India, they are wondering how people knew of that age that such a science. So this is other side of scientists. Now, was this discussed? This is important slide. You know this. Just for the sake of completion, this is the state of our belief system today. We believe in Pratyaksha Praman, we believe in Anuman Praman, we believe in Shabda Praman. There are some things which are difficult for us to perceive, which are given in Shabda Praman, but we are seeing them. Venn diagram, little technical. Pratyaksha Praman circle is whatever you can perceive with your direct sense perception. Anuman is whatever you can think logically and conclude. And Shabda Praman is simply written down in some Vedic book. Now our faith system is something like, अरे यार ये शब्द प्रमाण में लिखा है, but I don't believe because I have not perceived it either through direct sense perception or through anuman. But the scientific process of realization of Vedic knowledge, what it does to us is all these circles come inside Shabda Praman. What is the proof? In Bhagavad Gita it is said, Rajavidya, Rajaguhyam, Pavitram idam uttamam, Pratyakshavāgamamam dharmyam, susukham kartum avyayam. The word which I want to highlight is pratyaksha avagamam. Rajavidya means this is king of all knowledge. What I am speaking, Krishna is saying, this is king of all knowledge, secret of all secrets, beyond darkness and illusion of your senses. Our senses have limitations, so this knowledge is beyond senses. But at the same time, Krishna says that pratyakshavāgamam. You can directly perceive this truth in your life. You can directly perceive the validity of whatever I am saying. You can perceive it in your life. Just like mind. You can perceive mind. So all things which are there in the Vedic scriptures are quite perceivable if we go through a scientific process of learning them. So therefore, where do we come now? Basis of faith in God has to be scientific, and there is a process for this. And Vedic Shabda Praman, Vedic knowledge is the body of that knowledge, and there is a methodology to gain it. That is called Guru Shishya Parampara. That is the way of Shabda Praman. So this is what we learned in second. Third one was, anybody remembers? Vedas, the privilege of humanity. So now we come to Vedas. Is there any point in coming to Vedas before discussing all this? People would say, why Vedas? They are so old. Who has written? They are mythological stories. Why should we believe in them? Mahabharata is a mythology. Is it so? But it is by modern way of education. People are brainwashed to think that it is mythological, whereas there are abundant evidences of reality of Mahabharat's historical timeline. So my point was, coming to anything as Shabda Praman, first of all we have to establish that this is a Praman, this is a authentic way of gaining knowledge. So therefore we come with these two, maybe slightly not exactly spiritual topics. People become fearful. अरे हम इस्कॉन मंदिर में गए, वहां पे तो साइंस 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 हो रहा है. हम लोग गए थे भगवान की कुछ कहानी सुनने के लिए, बट लोग साइंस लेके ही बोलते हैं वहां पे. But this is required. This is required because we won't give it a serious damn. We won't give it a serious thought until unless we know why we have to take knowledge from scriptures. So now then we can come to scriptures. Vedas. What is the privilege of humanity? If I study mathematics, do I get any privilege? Suppose it is your son. Son, you want to teach him mathematics, basic counting principle. Does that counting principle give him any edge in his life? Privilege? No? Yes. He can count. At least nobody will cheat him in money transaction. कम से कम रिक्शा चलाने वाला भले ही 10th पास ना हो, उसको उतना पता रहता है कितना पैसा लेना है, कितना देना है. This is privilege. Mathematics gives us a privilege. So what privilege Vedas give us?
Can avoid lots of suffering.
Okay. Today if you ask someone, people in general, वेद पढ़ो भाई, वेदों से ज्ञान लेना चाहिए, they will ask. क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Americans are so much ahead. Are they reading your Vedas? Are they reading Ramayana, Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita? Why do we need it? Can we live life without reading Bhagavad Gita and all these scriptures? Can we live? Why? We can live. Have you seen happy people? drinking, making merry, dancing, going to parties. Absolutely happy. They have no worry.
They have worry next
Is it so? I have seen so many drug cards lying in gutter and they don't have any worry forever. They don't worry at all. They don't give a damn to anything. What do you say?
I honestly feel that you're right. Even I have seen such kind of people who are like, at least on paper, forever happy. And then when you actually have an interaction with them, I've seen people in my extended family also, they give me that view that, you are involved in friction, you are only struggling.
Right, right. So we are discussing now all these points from this positive thinker perspective also. This faith in God, the expression that it is scientific, gives you a positive hope. It gives you because you are struggling with so many foolish people. But where is it defined that it is foolish to not follow Vedas? We have to go through it. We have to see why, what privilege it gives. We should be able to explain it to the world. If our faiths are challenged, we should be able to take up the challenge. So that's why, uh, and we want to discover ourselves. Our discovery is hidden in Vedas. It can give us that by which we can know where from we have come, where do we go, why are we suffering, as you said. So the privilege of humanity, Vedas, the privilege of humanity is precisely, yes, this one. Vedas, infallible wisdom. What is special about Vedas is these three things. These three things distinguish any other source of knowledge from Vedas. This is where Vedas are different. They are they are never disproved. They have stood the test of time. There is no so-called modern science or knowledge which could follow this criteria. Do we want to miss out on such a credible information? So this is one privilege. It's infallible wisdom. And there are so many predictions which have come true. There are so many predictions which were made and we are seeing, we are witness of that. They are true today. So it's a credible knowledge. This example that you said, uh, womb, a child within the womb. There are so many examples. This is tree of Vedic knowledge. Whether I don't know whether you went through it. Vedas, the privilege of humanity में दिखाया था ये? नहीं.
An example is Yuga Sahasra Yojan Paralamu.
Right.
Between the sun and
Correct.
now there is one that is the same exact.
Perfect. In fact, Srila Prabhupada's guru, His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, he wrote a book called Surya Siddhanta. And therefore, because of his scholarly contribution, Surya Siddhanta is precisely all this planetary system. And no modern science could give that much of information. This was given given in that book, and he was given the title Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, because Surya Siddhanta is one of the very difficult things of astrology. And you see Panchang, हमारे बाजू में हमारा ऑफिस जहाँ पे है वहाँ पे ये मेट्रोलॉजिकल डिपार्टमेंट है. दे हैव ह्यूज HPCs, high performing cluster computers, huge investment, crores and crores of rupees for prediction of weather. But I follow Panchang, and I see that Panchang predictions are quite comprehensive and accurate as compared to sometimes. Now they are also evolving, and we see that they can predict that rain is coming for next 5 days, and it comes. It predicts that there will be cold days, and it happens. But they need such a setup. That is the point. They are exploring and evolving their knowledge over such a number of years, so many people are contributing to that scientific body of knowledge base, then it is coming. But our Vedas, they are already predicting ये चंद्र ग्रहण कब होने वाला है, सूर्य ग्रहण कब होने वाला है. How do they have that mathematics with them? So there must be something. Why should you deny? So Vedic tree of knowledge, Shruti, Smriti, Puran or Nyaya. Shruti, Smriti, Nyaya. Basically, Shruti is something that is heard directly from God. Smriti is something that is memorized and then thought over, and then there is evolution of that knowledge and presentation of that knowledge in a detailed manner. And then Nyaya is Shad Darshan, or 6 ways of seeing at the same tree of knowledge. 6 different dimensions from which you can prove that Shruti and Smriti are scientific truths. So they are Sankhya, Yoga, Vaisheshika, Nyaya, Mimamsa, Vedanta, etc. So it's a huge body of knowledge. And the language in which they are expressed, Sanskrit, that language itself, if you want to literally learn means you know the word and its meaning. Only language, word and meaning. Then it takes around 12 years of study. Then you can start to look into the books, what is there. And there, one lifetime is not sufficient for insignificant part of one of those sub-branches of these branches. Like Dhanurvidya. It's not possible to learn everything from Dhanurvidya. You know that there were Brahmastra which could be targeted in the baby, within the womb of a lady. That much, you may say, target chasing missiles. And they are dynamic. If the lady is running around, it will go and hit her womb only. Brahmastra. Parikshit was hit like that by Ashwatthama's Brahmastra. So it's not easy. We are working on a very gross level. These are very subtle levels of science. And there are evidences. It's a different topic in itself to again come to the evidences of how these Shastras are true. Most of the Vedic knowledge is burned down or destroyed by our enemies. Only 6% of Vedic knowledge is now available. Only 6%. But within that 6%, luckily we have the Bhagavad-gita, which is comprehensive, sufficient, only one book sufficient for deliverance of mankind. That is there. So, how we are special? Ahara nidra bhayamaitram cha samanyam etat pashubhir narana dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharmena hinaha pashubhi samana. So the question that I asked, what was the question? What privilege? How could you explain that this is a genuine need of a human being, this knowledge? The answer is in Mahabharata. Ahara nidra bhayamaitram cha samanyam etat pashubhir narana. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. They are same principles for animals as well as human beings. What is difference? So if somebody is happily dancing around everywhere, singing and making reels and forever happy, you can ask, by the way, what is the difference between a happy dog and you? There is no answer. You can say, well, you are eating, dog is eating. You are sleeping, dog is sleeping. You are meeting, making, you have so many enjoyments. Dog has its own enjoyments. And it is defending. You have your own defense mechanism. What is the difference? Dog also asks questions. Where is my food? To the owner.
He is not intelligent.
Dog is intelligent. He knows who is his master. Jumps and comes to hug his master. And he knows who is the enemy. He knows who is the thief. Sometimes he knows how to cross the road. He knows vehicle horn is honking. He gets the knowledge. He has knowledge that vehicle may hit him. He sometimes may not have capability to get away from a very fast vehicle, because naturally vehicles are unnatural for them. So they have intelligence. Do they have?
The level of intelligence is far different than
We may think like that, but sometimes they may see something which we can't see. Like there was an earthquake in my childhood in 1993 or something, and dramatically after earthquake, many human beings thought that before that night, so many dogs were howling, crying, and there were some snakes which came out of buildings. And then in tsunami, no animal was dead. All of them knew it and they ran away, and all human beings were drowned. So they may be more intelligent than us. Do they have family? They have. Do have their love for their own children? So what is the difference? I am taking care of my family. Dog is also taking care of his family. I am taking care of my community. You have seen Discovery Channel. There is herd of bulls or those buffaloes, and then there is a tiger which comes and then it tries to catch a buffalo, and the whole herd comes and the lion runs away. They protect their community. So what is the difference?
they cannot take food.
Okay.
We have intelligence which can be used to know God.
Right. That is the point. Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho. Dharmo means, who am I really? How did I come here? Where is my destiny? What happens after death? Where was I before my birth? Was I there before my birth? And am I supposed to act in a certain way in this world? Are there rules by which I should conduct myself? Are there punishment for doing something wrong? Who is controller? Who is designer? What am I supposed to do or what I am not supposed to do? What is morality? Morality is there in dogs. It's there. No two lions can live in same place, it is said. They have their own morality. One of the lions, after getting defeated, will walk away from that place. They have their own way of morality. Jungle का भी rule होता है. So dogs also, you see, you are entering my territory. Srila Prabhupada used to say, this all thing, people fight over nations. This is all dogs' business. Dogs also do the same thing. What are you doing other than, fighting over a land, piece of land? So that way, the privilege of humanity is actually discussed in scriptures. These higher esoteric questions. So, in spite of these things, is it not a reality that human beings are suffering? Vedas say that human beings are suffering. If we are neglecting those sufferings or unhappy in our own way, is it very intelligent? Somebody says, oh, there is birth, old age, disease and death. We are coming to that point. We have a choice. Old age, disease and death. All these are realities. Can you deny these? Common to all, no one wants it, no one can avoid it. One who can perceive this, they know the real problem and they are in knowledge. This is it. Now you just check one who is seemingly happy. Is it not fool's paradise? Like sometime a fool is happy. He doesn't know, he doesn't go to school, he doesn't learn anything. He eats, sleeps and all animal activities he does, and he is never under stress. Do we want to become a fool like that? Sometimes a very depressed, distressed person walks on a street, hi Ram, ये मेरा जीवन इतना क्यों तकलीफ दे रहा है मुझे? See, this dog is dancing so jubilantly. This dog is better than me. He feels like that because he doesn't know a life beyond dog's life. That's why The nature shows him this reality. Ki, see, what is your family life? What is your office life? What is your education? What is your achievement? You are struggling with birth, diseases, old age, and finally death. And then we saw Adhyatmik, Adhibhautik, Adhidaivik Klish. What are they? Because of our own body and mind, we suffer. Because of somebody else, we suffer. Because of higher powers of nature, we suffer. Does anyone want to become diseased? Nobody wants real problems. Nobody wants. But do we all get diseased? Yes, we get diseased. Can we avoid it? Can we avoid death, old age? No. How much ever money you spend, you can't avoid. So, an intelligent person is that person who is given this clue that somewhere there is a solution. Is he intelligent or a person who just dances and makes merry? अरे old age आएगा देखेंगे, disease आएगा देखेंगे, death आएगा देखेंगे. क्यों रोते बैठना है? नाचो यार, क्यों टेंशन में बैठे हो, भगवदगीता पढ़ रहे हो? Who is intelligent? If you know impending danger that is going to fall on you and you are preparing and planning for it, you are leading a better life or you are leading a... कभी कभी ऐसा था कि some satellite is going to fall on earth and everybody is going to die, so you drink, eat and make merry, you are going to die. Something like that happened. And suppose somebody declares here there was huge rain in mountain area, and then there is a village there and people want to evacuate. There is a impending danger, natural calamity is coming, you will be drowned. And there is a man who is, hey, jao yaar, tum kyun tension le rahe ho? Is he not a fool? So actually those people who are not going into any solution for this, just going through life, neglecting all impending dangers and problems of life, he is no more than a two-legged animal. Dharmena hina pashubhi samana. He has no intelligence. Why should we give importance to them? We should see them as fools. And if somebody within our heart is also a part of our consciousness or part of our mind is also pulling us in the direction of not believing, because it is said we have two dogs within our own hearts, a good dog and a bad dog. So you should kill that bad dog of faithlessness by higher intelligence. This is the privilege of humanity. You can go beyond birth, old age, disease and death. मामुपेत्य पुनर्जन्म दुःखालयम शाश्वतम नाप्नुवन्ति महात्मानः samsiddhim paramam gata. Krishna says that samsiddhim, perfection of life. What is perfection of life? Mamupetya, after obtaining me, after reaching to me, after achieving me, Krishna says, Mamupetya punarjanma, you will not take birth again. Dukkhalayam, in this miserable world. Dukkhalayam, ashashvatam. What will happen at what time, we don't know. Ashashvatam, somebody meets with an accident while going on road and gone, everything is gone. So ashashvatam, na apnuvanti. Na apnuvanti means doesn't obtain. Samsiddhim means highest perfection. Paramam, highest. Gatam. Once he obtains the highest perfection, he will go to such a world where there are no problems. So, where is that world? How is that world? Is there a mother there? Is there a father there? Is there body there? What kind of body is there? What kind of happiness do we enjoy? Is there a sun? Is there a moon there? What people eat? Where do we find this information? Vedas. Vedas give us that information. And there are saintly people who can go to that world and come back. They can describe to you. There are symptoms which are manifest. All this is given. How do we see that world within this body itself? The science is given. We are missing out on that huge body of science. 6% of it is remaining, but I bet we can't finish even 0.0000001% of that remaining 6%. It's such a huge body of knowledge. And Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam. Only one book is sufficient. Lord Shankaracharya, he said, Devaki Putra Geetam. Means Devaki Putra Krishna's Gita. Gita means Gita, Bhagavad Gita. Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam. Only one scripture is sufficient to finish everything off. All miseries. So, therefore, this is the privilege. And this we discussed. Adhyatmik, Adhigautik, Adhivedic, Klish. And how the greatest of the people suffered and all this. After hearing this session, you might have gone into a depression probably. That's the privilege of humanity. So many miseries were, listed out. And then this analogy was given. Fish out of water cannot be happy. Do we feel sometimes like that? If you feel like that, you are closer to your real existence. If you are not, then we are in animal consciousness. We are no good better than animals. So that disturbance, that something is missing, I want something higher, is a sign of evolved consciousness, a better human being. So if you feel depressed about miseries of life, you are very superhuman, you are a very good person. This is the starting of positive thinking. Accepting that something is problematic here. How would you improve upon your life in general if you don't accept the previous way of your living was miserable? And if you felt that it was not that miserable, then also you will get a life better than what you are experiencing. So, whichever way you are thinking, maybe, even if you have lived a very, very positive, healthy, क्या बोलते हैं, अनुकूलता से भरा हुआ जीवन भी आपने जिया है, तो भी that life is, in the eyes of God, it is miserable life. So what would be the happy life then? We should seek. In any condition, we should seek it. And in fact, it's a matter of fact that an intelligent, evolved living being who is awarded this human consciousness would feel like fish out of water at some point of time in his life. He would feel, I am a fish out of water. I am not really getting what I want, what kind of happiness I want. I am not getting that experience. He will feel. So all other methodology, science, they do not go to the root cause. Our, death in that is a graphic way of telling what? What do you learn from this figure?
Sheep is eating grass, but he doesn't know that he going to
There. So all those happy people are like that goat. Good day, so much grass, I am so happy and lucky. Somebody is standing behind her. So wise versus fool, you understood this. What is the actual destination where I am going? We are like a lost son of a rich father. Instead of feeding that lost son, if you connect that lost son to the father, every problem is solved. Inductive way of knowledge, deductive way of knowledge. Inductive way of knowledge means top down. Bottom up. Deductive means top down. Means this HP company gives a manual how to operate and troubleshoot this laptop. This is coming from top. And then I am a computer engineer. I know a little bit about motherboard and CPU and memory and RAM. And I just open it somehow and then speculate and mess it up. That is so-called modern science. inductive and deductive way of gaining knowledge. So that way, Vedas are like our mother, God is like our father. Our mother explains to us who is our father. So Vedic process of learning is there are professors, one who is heading the Gurukul Acharya, authorized college is like authorized Sampradaya Parampara, authorized books. Do we take admission in any college? Do we take? If my son wants to get admitted into engineering college, वहां पे एक ऐसा पत्रे का शेड है, उधर लगाया हुआ इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज सो एंड सो, अरे मेरे बच्चे को ले लो, मैं जैसे ही जाके एडमिशन लेता हूँ क्या? There is UGC, University Grant Commission, there are accreditations, and then you see the authenticity of syllabus. Once you get into this proper school or college, you study proper authorized books. You don't, buy any book of that subject. You will mess it up. You can't pass. So like that, there is Vedic process of learning. There are authorized teachers. There is authorized college, Guru Shishya Paramana. There is authorized set of books. So this is Veda's way of learning. ठीक है? 12:26. ठीक है, 5 minutes break, then we'll come back. I hope I have not bored you. Okay, 5 minutes you can take a stroll around. We can come back. You can distribute them. It's Prasad coupon. Somebody gave you?
You already did, so remaining one.
अच्छा अच्छा, okay, yeah, ठीक है.